The purpose of the movement evaluation is to get a better understanding of the student's structure and habitual movement patterns, as well as answer the following questions. Where in the body do I observe lack of mobility? Where do I see excessive mobility? Which relationships seem to be unbalanced? And what looks obviously asymmetrical? Since the spine is the structural center of the body, we want to start our observation there and then gradually expand it to the shoulder girdle that connects upper extremities to the spine and rib cage, and pelvic girdle that links lower extremities to the spine. Then we expand the awareness out to the periphery to observe the rest of the body. You will also be observing the connection between breath and movement, breathing pace, students' understanding of the pose, general body awareness, and ability to follow instructions and to stay focused. When you conduct your movement observation, it makes the most sense to begin in a supine position, then move to kneeling, if possible, then prone, then kneeling again, and then to standing, finishing up in a chair or sitting on the floor. All movement should be simple and easily adaptable to the student's current physical state. And of course, you will be paying specific attention to the areas of concern that the student had identified for you. Supine position is comfortable for most students, so it makes sense to begin your observation there. It is non-weight bearing and allows us to assess the mobility of the lumbar spine and range of motion in most major joints.
Relax your body. Start to deepen the breathing little by little.
First, observe the body from the center out into the periphery, noting areas of tension and any obvious asymmetries.
So as you continue to breathe, go ahead and bring your attention towards your feet. And compare the sensations between your right and left foot. Feet first, then ankles.
Ask your student to compare the right and the left side of the body, first mentally and then out loud. Note if it matches with what you observe.
Do you observe any difference between the knees?
I feel a little bit of tension in the right knee. It feels a little bit twisted.
And twisted in or out?
Out.
Out. Okay.
This type of exploration is an excellent exercise in body awareness for the student. It gives him something to do and takes him past being self-conscious about being observed. It gives you information about the areas where his perception of his body varies significantly from what you observe.
When you move your attention into the pelvis, into your hips, does it feel like your both butt cheeks are equally on the ground or not?
A little twisted. Left feels off the ground a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So it feels like the left hip is higher off the floor.
Correct.
Okay. So go ahead and take a deep breath, please. And with the exhalation, slowly press your lower back down firmly into the ground. But keep doing it, so you're tipping your pelvis now. Good job. With the inhalation, slowly release, creating a little bit of an arch. Good. And on the exhale, contract the abdomen again. Press your lower back down. Good. Now try to do this section without utilizing your upper body at all. Just keep the upper body relaxed. Mm-hmm. And then on the exhale, gradual abdominal contraction. So your pelvis tips backwards a bit. Good. And release.
Observe depth and location of breath. How changing the curve of the lower back changes the thoracic and cervical curves. Positioning of the head, shoulders, lower back, pelvis, knees, feet. Ability to do pelvic tilt on exhalation.
Starting point. Take a deep breath, please. And with the exhalation, contract the abdomen and pull your thighs towards yourself. Good. Inhale, move them away. That's it. And again, gradual abdominal contraction. Okay.
Observe ability to contract the abdomen on exhalation, range of motion in the hips, neck-shoulder position, and compare trajectory of the leg movement.
Toes toward the nose. And exhale, bend the knee. Same on the other side. So with the next inhalation, slowly bring your knees apart. And on the exhale, bring them toward each other. And squeeze. Exhale, lean your right knee in. And raise it up. Same on the other side.
Observe how the leg movement affects the spinal curves, imbalanced development in the agonist-antagonist relationships between adductors and abductors, hip flexors and glutes, depending on the movement. Difference between the right and left sides, ability to isolate lower body movement without tensing neck and shoulders.
With the next inhalation, raise your right arm up over your head, please. All the way. Turn the palm in. Good. And then bring it down as you exhale. And same on the other side. Palm in. Okay. Any trouble?
No.
Okay. Both arms. Stretch. And then down as you exhale. Press your lower back down too when you do that. Up. Good. And then exhale, move the arms out and down.
Observe the range of motion of neck and shoulders, any obvious restrictions and asymmetries, how the arm movement affects the positioning of the lower body. If the student can be on his hands and knees, try Chakrabakasana. If not, use a chair and do a similar movement.
So knees aligned underneath the hip joints. Yep. Wrists aligned underneath the shoulder joints. Good. Do you need some padding under your knees?
No, I think
You're
I'm
all
okay.
right. Okay. On the inhale, lift the chest forward and up, please. On the exhale, bring your butt down toward the heels. Can we flatten the feet? And then go back up as you inhale. Keep the feet flat throughout. And then bring the elbows down first. And then bring everything else down. Good, good. And relax the neck completely. Good.
Observe the origin of movement on the way down and on the way up, the relationship between the pelvis and the spine, mobility of the thoracic spine, concavity of the lumbar curve, position of the head, elevation of the shoulders, position of the elbows and hands, position of the knees and ankles, compare right and left side, weight distribution between hands and feet, from right to left.
Okay, and so next time when you inhale, slowly lift your upper body up, pulling your elbows towards your heels. Okay, we're pushing way too much, so come on down all the way. Don't push yourself up at all, just pull your elbows back. Try that again. Good, and come down. Now same thing with a little less effort.
Observe the origin of movement on the way up, distribution of muscular contraction throughout the back, position of the head, ability to turn it, position of the shoulders, hip position in relation to the ground and to each other, leg and feet position, specifically symmetry and asymmetry, and back muscles, symmetry of development. If possible, do Vajrasana. If not, use the chair.
Okay. Put your hands on your lower back, please. With the inhalation, lift up on the knees, sweeping your arms out and up. And with the exhalation, slowly move down. Keep your chest raised to begin with. Arms out. And then all the way down. Hands to your lower back. Do that again.
Observe the origin of movement on the way up and on the way down. Ability to use upper back muscles to reverse the thoracic curve on the way up. Range of motion in the hips and lower back. Range of motion in the shoulders. Position of the knees and feet, comparing right and left sides. And weight distribution between the right and the left side. By the time you are ready to transition into standing position, you should have a pretty good idea of where the major restrictions and instabilities are, as well as some obvious imbalances and asymmetries. You can use standing postures to continue your exploration or to offer your student some relief from whatever physical tensions he is experiencing.
Press your feet down, bring your arms out to the sides, and go up. Lead with the chest. And bring your arms down. Doing great. So stand nice and tall, close your eyes, please. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here.
Observe the posture, noting areas of tension and any obvious asymmetries. Ask your student to compare the right and the left side of the body and weight distribution through the feet, first mentally and then out loud. Note if it matches with what you observe.
Put your hands on top of each other. Relax your shoulders. Next time when you inhale, bend your front knee and move your arms out to the sides like that. Good. And come out.
Observe the mobility of the lower back, ability to control the curvature of the lower back via abdominal contraction, positioning of the upper body relative to the lower body, symmetry of the pelvis, position and angle of the knees, position of the feet. Here you can try different arm adaptations to relieve tension in the upper back and neck, or emphasize different aspects of the movement to target the lower back, hip flexors, glutes, knees, or ankles.
Take a deep breath. And with the exhalation, bend forward, sliding your hands down. Soften the knees a little. Relax your neck completely, please. Put your hands on your legs anywhere you want to reach. Good. Let go completely. Good. With the inhalation, lift the chest up a little bit, pulling the shoulder blades down. A little more. Good. And on the exhale, just drape everything down. Relax the neck completely. Good.
Observe the relationship between the pelvis and the spine, positioning of the head and shoulders, angle at the knees, position of the feet, overall range of motion, and comfort level.
Okay, press your feet down, bring your arms out to the sides, lead with the chest, and go up. That's it.
If it feels necessary and you have time available, you can try other simple standing poses. Then have the student get settled in a comfortable seated position of his choice. And ask the student what he had noticed during the session. Summarize what you observed as it is relevant to the problem that the student had articulated at the beginning of the session, without going into too much detail. And then describe the course of action based on your observations.